24 facilities in New York, including the halfway house there, the federal halfway house that houses men and women. So, you know, this is the guy can tell you whatever program you want to know, job placement, all this stuff. This is the guy. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to put it, and y'all can take things like that.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Pastor, for hosting the meeting here tonight. Just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of core New York and what we intend to bring into core DC is, as Mr. Holder pointed out, we operate about 24, maybe more facilities in New York, because some are very small. Right now, we employ just under 900 folks, many of which look like the folks that we have sitting in this room right now. We have a security company where we just onboarded just under 500 security guards. As I walked over here today, they sent me a photograph of 250 guards that we have in the meeting right now in Brooklyn. So I'm trying to give you a snapshot of what the company looks like, how we hire. We've been very fortunate. We've won a considerable number of contracts with DHS in New York City. And we also won back in 2014, we won or 2011 rather, we won the federal halfway house contract for Brooklyn. Myself and our CEO and some of our other leadership have worked with reentry in New York City since the early 90s. We've seen the Bureau of Prisons change over the last 20 years. We've seen the way charges were made up and processed. We've seen facilities open. We've seen facilities closed. We've seen the RDAP program and what that looked like within the Bureau of Prisons. So when we won the contract in New York back in 2011, we felt like we were experts and we knew what needed to be done. We've been successful. The site that we operate in Brooklyn is in what would one consider to be a re-gentrified neighborhood. There's multi-million-dollar condominiums 2 blocks away from the facility. That building houses 161 male and female returning citizens. We have a school that's less than a block away from our halfway house in New York. We have a NYCHA public housing project. I think it's the second or third largest in New York City, directly across the street. We have never had an issue with any of our returning citizens who came home into our facility in that neighborhood. It's never happened. We have demonstrated proficiency with our audits. We've been under American Corrections Association audits consistently for the last 7 or 8 years. We always come out with stellar reports. We're always inspected and audited by the Bureau of Prisons, by the City of New York, and every other entity that comes and inspects our programs, and we consistently come out on our feet. Some of the things that we did differently, that we do differently, is just the way we hire. Our staffing patterns are high. We believe more case management, more employment specialists, more housing specialists, more entitlement specialists in our programs will lead to better outcomes. I think another thing that we do a little bit differently from what we've learned in the time we've been here is the way we engage the community. So CORE is no stranger. We've been in similar bid protests and similar resistance from communities where we open up. And what by and large has happened is folks come in, they have some anxiety about what the program is going to look like. Will it impact property value? What does it mean for safety? And by the time we open, within 3 months to 6 months to a year later, those feelings have shifted. Why? Mainly because we hire from the communities that we do work in. So as Mr. Holder pointed out, this particular site has a minimum about 85 to 90 jobs, of which we would be too happy to partner with the faith-based community and local elected officials and folks like you sitting here today to see who we can employ and how we can be transparent. Because we believe if you live close to the site, you work in the community, you are from the community, and you work there, you can be a positive, transparent message, and we can also provide some local financial stimulus by creating jobs. It's just how we operate. We're involved in hiring, interviewing. This is from our president and CEO down. We do training, we do interviewing. I do painting, I clean the bathroom, whatever it takes to keep our facilities running, we are hands on deck. Because we know that ultimately we're creating jobs, and that is how you gain the respect and support of the folks that you work with, not for, or not, we don't say folks work for us, we say we work with us. And that's pretty much how we operate.
Mention about the services coming in the site.
Yep, thank you. So another thing we do as relates to, thank you, Mr. Holder, as relates to our community engagement strategy, is we partner with every single, as we say in New York, CBO, and in this case, you guys have the RAND and other organizations that bring in so many valuable partners who are credible messengers to come in and support working with the men and returning citizens who are coming home. We have a pretty much an open door, transparent policy about who can come in and partner with the guys that come home. And the reason why we do that is because we feel like program shift, needs shift, the job market, the sectors, these things shift daily, right? At one point, there may be a lot of jobs in construction. Depending on what happens with building, that sector of business may switch over to another sector. And we like to be hands-on. We're not gonna block anybody out from servicing the clients, whether it be educational opportunities, ways to increase employment or to find new employment, whether it be working on soft skills so that when guys come home, they'll be more valuable, we'll know how to deal with issues in the workplace. There's not a stone we don't turn to make sure that when somebody comes home, they're successful. One of the other things that we looked at was the child support issue. I know this has come up in a few meetings since we've been here. We realized that guys were coming home and had been stacked with arrears in child support. So we brought child support in with a local advocate in New York. We intend to do the same thing here to mirror some of the success you guys have had to remove that anxiety so that the father can begin to heal a relationship with the custodial or non-custodial parent. Those things, and if you can't give the money right away, how do we talk about spending time, right? We want to get these guys to PTA meetings at the school. We want them to be able to go and chaperone a field trip with their child's school if the child is still young enough, considering how much time they've been away. These little things matter. These are the type of things that we fight for to make sure that our returning citizens get access to their families. It cannot be done without family support. It cannot be done without the relationship with the faith-based community. We find a lot of times guys come home and they're at their peak physical health, right? They're praying, they're doing everything right. And then sometimes you come home and things are not set up for you to continue that way. So it's easy to slip back into your old habits and not doing some of the good things you were doing. We believe that when the guys first come home, they can go back into their household and be a nutritionist, a leadership. They can tell family how to work out. They've done that. They've been reading, they've been praying, and we like to pick up on that momentum and send guys back into their homes in a way that they can continue to actually be an asset and a resource when they get home. The last thing you want to do is you come home and you find out that nobody is doing the things that you were doing and that the status quo in the household doesn't support what you did when you were away. So our recognition of that process, I think makes us in a position to do fresh, innovative stuff. It makes us a better advocate to the Bureau of Prisons to advocate for policy changes. The reality is that when guys come home on a remand, if they have to be remanded back to one of the 112 or so, or 15 or so federal facilities, it's very expensive, it's very costly, and our position with the Bureau of Prisons has and will continue to be keeping our men home is more cost efficient for the federal government. It sustains our families, it breaks the cycle of recidivism, and it's the right thing to do. I mean, aside from all the other things. So hopefully that it gives you a quick snapshot of what we intend to do.
We'll enter into the discussion, but thank you for lifting it up right now.
Okay.
And we want to move through some introduction to find out who we are and what we hope to see happen in terms of that. But I want to, before I do that, Ron, I want to just have you say a few words, if that's okay, if I'm not pressing.
I just want to thank Reverend Hagler for inviting us here. And I want to thank the people who helped me when I came home. Because everybody needs somebody to help them. We know that the first 6 months is the most important for anybody coming home. And it's not in place to move you forward. You're not going to be successful 9 times out of 10. I don't care who you are. And the reason why I'm engaged with this is one, because somebody called me and told me what was going on months ago. And I had a chance to go up to court and see what they were doing in New York City. When I saw family members bringing returned citizens to the halfway house and walking in and feel like they are part of the transitioning of that returned citizen, then I know they kind of get it. Not saying that they get everything, because I don't know, but the things that I saw when I was up there, when I saw returned citizens smiling and happy and feeling like they were being treated right, seeing clean buildings, seeing people, just motivated to do what's right, it meant something to me. Moving forward, fast forward, I talked to some people in Ken McDuffie's office today and told him how we felt. And I just wanted to reiterate to him that we're not barking yet. Like, it's a few people in Ward 5 barking, right, but we can make a lot of noise too. Yeah. Because they don't speak for everybody in Ward 5. All of us have friends and family members in Ward 5 too. Yes, so we can turn the volume up a little bit too. So one of the things they said that they will do is organize a meeting. We're going to meet with Douglas Jamal because people like Al Malik and other people have worked directly with Douglas Jamal in the past, and he has been a friend to returning citizens. He's done a lot of things for returned citizens. He's hired a lot of returned citizens.
Yes, sir.
So our thing is, we think that sitting down with us and letting him know, like, look, we have a voice too, and we care about you because you care about us. But I know how this works, and I'm gonna be short. At the end of the day, what this boils down to, a few community leaders have opposed it because
Yes, sir.
people have come to them, right? People have come and talked about us like animals and dogs,
That's right, Ron.
right? And we're not going for that, right? So when he gets pushback from ANCs and people like that, and he has over $14 billion worth of development that he's doing in the ward, he's gonna think twice about it.
Yes, sir.
So the only thing that's gonna change that, if they know that we can cause just as many problems
Yes, sir.
as those few people who mobilize a few people in the community with fear,
Yeah.
which creates hate.